karya ini bisa mewakili seluruh kecintaan kita terhadap Indonesia. Berdoa mulai. Indonesia merdeka!
Tanah Surga oleh Salman. Bukan lautan, hanya kolam susu, katanya. Tapi kata kakekku, hanya orang-orang kaya yang bisa minum susu. Orang bilang tanah kita tanah surga. Tongkat kayu dan batu jadi tanaman, katanya. Tapi kata dokter Intel, belum semua rakyatnya sejahtera. Banyak pejabat yang menjual kayu dan batu untuk membangun surganya sendiri.
Kulihat ibu pertiwi, kami datang berbakti. Lihatlah putra putrimu menggembirakan ibu.
karena tidak bisa memberi air susu kepada anaknya. Satu masyarakat yang tiap orang bisa menjadi cerdas. Satu masyarakat yang benar-benar membuat bangsa Indonesia ini satu bangsa yang terdiri daripada ratusan juta insan al-kamil yang hidup dengan bahagia di bawah kolong langit buatan Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof. Selamat datang, Prof.
Mas Karnawi atau panitia
Iya, Bapak.
minta di-add di komputer satu lagi ya.
Nggih, atas nama siapa nggih, Bapak? Atas nama Pak Rudi juga di device komputernya? Halo? Tes?
Pak Rudi Hartono ya, Pak?
Mas Ridan.
Iya, Bu.
Tolong ya Bu Ainur, tolong di-admit atas nama Ibu Nita Liando, Kaprodi Jurusan Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris.
Ibu
Unima.
siapa, Bu?
Ibu Nita Liando.
Nita.
Liando. Ya, Kaprodi Jurusan Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris. Unima.
Selamat pagi, Prof. Rudi Hartono.
Selamat pagi. Mohon maaf nih, saya mau ganti laptop supaya virtual background-nya bisa pakai yang panitia.
Oh ya, silahkan Pak.
Bentar.
Pagi, Pak Rudi.
Selamat pagi, Bu.
Pagi, Pak Rudi.
Oke. Bu Yani.
Alhamdulillah, baik, Pak.
Ya, alhamdulillah. Oke.
Berarti sudah cek sound ya, Pak Rudi jelas suaranya, Bu Vivi? Jelas nggak suaranya Bu Vivi? Oke, oke ya. Moderator semua udah dicoba suaranya. Pak Hendy?
Iya, Ibu.
Oke, keras ya. Moderatornya
Filina Jamuddin, and I graduated English and Literature program in 2015. And right now, I'm working in Norwegian Cruise Line Company. NCL or Norwegian Cruise Line Company is a cruise ship industry that travels around the world. And right now, guys, I just want to say that I'm really proud and thankful for English and Literature program.
Hello everyone, we are the students of English Language and Literature study program, and we recommend you to join this study program because of what?
Because in this study program, we do not only learn about the English language, but the attitude and English culture.
Can't wait to see you guys.
Bye bye.
Cheers, mate.
Hello, my name is Aldo Hebat Pranajaya, and I'm now currently working in the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Democratic People's Republic of Korea as a private secretary for the Indonesian ambassador. And I'm majoring in the English Literature program in the Faculty of Language and Arts in Manado State University. And I'm a proud alumni of English Literature student who has achieved my dreams to be working abroad. Because English is a global language, so you must be understood the language to communicate with the global citizen. And English Literature program in the Manado State University will help you to get there, as the environment and the teachers there were very helpful. The English Literature program helps me to increase my English ability, how to speak and speaking correctly, and the teachers were also helpful, and there was no gap between the teachers and the students, so it helped me a lot when I was studying there. So for all of you who are studying there or just about to study, take a chance and don't forget to join in the community or join the international exposure that will be available while you're studying. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's webinar, IELA for Seminars, with the topic, Shaping the New Paradigm of English Language and Literature Teaching in the Challenging 5.0 Era. Hosted by IELA and the English Language and Literature Study Program of the Faculty of Language and Art, Universitas Negeri Manado. I'm Veronica Damupolii, and I'll be your Master of Ceremony. For additional information, participants who cannot join Zoom room due to the limited space are allowed to take part in the webinar via YouTube with the official name IELA Official. As a mark of respect to our country, let us listen to our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. We should be grateful for this wonderful opportunity today, and I would like to invite us to all to a prayer. The prayer will be delivered by Dr. Randa Jenny Posuma M. Ibu Jenny Posuma M. The time is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start with our activity today, sorry. Yeah. Let us pray. Our Almighty God, today we appear while giving thanks for the opportunity to breathe. We see now we will do the fourth international webinar. This program is a collaboration between International English Lecturer Association and English Language and Culture Study Program, Manado State University. This is until the end of our program. Father in heaven, we believe that you always be with us, so we are able to talk, we are able to discuss and let the knowledge and all the good things we give of Jesus Christ, your Son, we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Let us proceed to welcome remarks. Firstly, by the Dean of the Faculty of Language and Art, Dr. Rona M. Hum, who will be represented by the First Dean Assistant, Dr. Mr. Gideon Marmih M. Hum, and followed by the head of the English Language and Literature Study Program, Ibu Vivi Andris SS M. Hum. For the assistant, Dr. Mr. Gideon Marmih M. Hum and Ibu Vivi, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. The Honorable Presidents of IELA, Indonesian English Literature Associations, Associate Professor Dr. Daniel Ginting. I was informed that he's also here. So, and also the distinguished speakers, Professor Dr. Rudy Hartono. It is an honor to have you here, Professor. And Dr. Jean Baptiste, Mr. Nurhandi, SSMPD. I saw him just a while ago in the screen. And Ms. Imelda Lolowang, SPDMA. And of course, all of the committee and the boards of IELA, and also from the English Language and Literature Study Program from Universitas Negeri Manado. And of course, participants. And I saw some of the participants wrote down in the chatting room, productive participant, since it is actually weekend and everybody seems to be happy in this room. It seems with the 274 participants are in this room. So I think this is happens. We are really grateful for these occasions, this opportunity. Thanks God for these intellectual moment at the weekend. And first of all, allow me to express the apology of the Dean of Faculty of Language and Art, Universitas Negeri Manado, Dr. Donald Matius Ratu M. Hum, for being unable to attend this virtual seminar to join us today or this moment, for his having another similar important session in another place at the same time. So I, as the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs, I'm assigned to take part in this seminar. And again, our dean does apologize for this inconvenience. And it is an honor for our faculty, particularly the English Language and Literature Study Program, to have the opportunity to collaborate with IELA to hold this virtual seminar on shaping new paradigm on English language and literature teaching in the challenging 5.0 era. I believe this is a challenging topic, and there will be challenging discussion. The talk on Society 5.0, I think, will be interesting. Yeah. Deriving from Japan government literature, correct me if I'm wrong, which emphasize on data are collected from the real world and processed by computers, with the result being applied in the real world. This idea, I think, bring us or lead us to the vision of Society 5.0, require us to reframe two kinds of relationship: the relationship between technology and society, and technology mediated relationship between individual and society, and the rise of new concept, usually or always followed by the rise of new paradigm. That's what we are going to discuss today, I think. And in terms of 5.0 educations, we believe, or I think we commonly know that adaptations in terms of technology or robotic devices or infrastructures, networks, and competence, especially in the part of educators, who are expected more than just a provider, but also inspire. Teachers should be inspiring, and innovations are required, I think, today. And seeing this, the presence of these great speakers and their willingness and kindness to share their perspective, I'm sure that this virtual seminar will bridge and come up with innovative ideas, notions, and breakthroughs for educations, particularly the teaching of English, of language and literature. So I'm really impatient. I am not patient anymore to wait for the seminar, and I do welcome all of the participants to join, and of course I kindly expect and a wonderful ideas from the speakers, and also I believe also participants through session of discussion, questioning in this virtual seminar. So welcome and have a nice, wonderful seminar on shaping the new paradigm of English language and literature teaching in the challenging 5.0 era. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mr. Gideon Marmih MHO. Now we are going to Ibu Vivi Andris SS MPD.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Veronica. Good morning, everyone. Shalom, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable IELA President, Associate Professor Dr. Daniel Ginting, the Honorable of the First Vice Dean, Dr. Mr. Gideon Marmih MHO, as the representation of the Dean of Faculty of Languages and Art, Universitas Negeri Manado, the Honorable IELA's board member, and especially the speakers of today's international webinar, and the Honorable all the participants who has joined this webinar. I would like to welcome you to this international webinar. I think this is a very special moment because the English Language and Literature Study Program collaborate with IELA, Indonesian English Lecturer Association, can help this webinar. We hope that this seminar or this webinar will allow all the participants to enlarge their knowledge and their experience, especially relate to the topic of today international webinar. Thank you very much for all parties who has dedicated their thought, time, and also energy for the successful of this webinar. And as the head of the English Language and Literature Study Program, Faculty of Languages and Art, Universitas Negeri Manado, I would like to say that I'm so proud to be part of this webinar. And the last but not least, on behalf of IELA board member and the English Language and Literature Study Program, I'd like to say thank you very much everyone to join this program. God bless you all. Stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Vivi Andris SSMP. Now we are going to welcome the President of Indonesian English Lecturer Association, Dr. Daniel Ginting. Bapak Dr. Ginting, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. It is indeed a great blessing that the Almighty gives so that we are able to participate in this webinar. First of all, allow me to thank the Assistant of the Faculty of Language and Arts, Manado University, Bapak Dr. Mr. Gideon Marmih, and also to Ibu Kapolri, Ibu Vivi Andris, who have supported this webinar through the collaboration between Universitas Negeri Manado with IELA. Bapak Wakil Dekan 1, I'm personally thrilled to tell you that this webinar committee members have worked very well to prepare this event. They are such a great team. And thanks to today's speakers, I'd like to mention my colleague, Professor Rudi Hartono. He is one of my best colleagues.
Thank you, Pak Daniel.
And he looks younger today than I expect. Prof. Rudi and I used to become the pioneers of the Indonesian Magic Open Online Course program supported by the U.S. Embassy's regional English language officers. And Dr. John Baptist, as an e-teacher graduate, is also one of my colleagues. We used to study together at the University of Maryland in 2011. And now he becomes the professor teaching at the university in Japan. And I'm so proud of mentioning Pak Nur Hendy and Mrs. Imelda Lolo Wang, who are pleased to share their knowledge today. Thank you very much. I also thank all the participants for enthusiasm with this webinar. Hopefully, this program serves as a medium to update our professional development and improve academic performance from time to time. We are constantly challenging ourselves to make improvement that brings about impacts on our colleges, institutions, and also other groups of professionals outside our institutions at the regional, national, and even international level. Thank you very much and good luck for the webinar.
Thank you, Bapak Dr. Daniel Ginting. Before we go further, I want to inform you about the housekeeping. We will have all participants on mute to avoid background noises that may distract you from the listening to the webinar. Throughout the presentations, the co-host will managing and monitoring the chat and technical functionality. As we do the question and answer session after all of the 4 speaker sessions. You can enter your question in the form of Slido that will be provided by co-hosts and YouTube chat rooms throughout the presentations. And please accept our apology as we may not be able to answer all of your questions. Our webinar is being recorded and live streamed via YouTube. The Zoom and YouTube link are being shared through the WhatsApp group and chat room. We will have about 30 minutes for every speaker and another 30 minutes for the question and answer session that will be guided by the moderators. Related to this webinar event, we confess some rules. Please switch your device into mute mode during the session. You are invited to write the question through the share link that will be shared by us in chat room. The participant just click the link and type the question by following this format. The first one, the participant can write your name / institution and then write your question using the format ask and / name of the speaker you want to ask and then questions. You can also ask the presenter live by clicking the raise hand features in Zoom. The e-certificate will automatically send to Bapak Ibu by email. So Bapak and Ibu must click the exit ticket and fill the data and survey. So please be careful on writing name and email. The exit ticket will be launched during the session and will be automatically be closed by the server after 2 hours. Complaint will be responded during that time. The material from the presenter will be available and accessible in our website myiela.id. When Zoom is full of capacity, you may participate through your YouTube channel IELA Official. Thank you very much for your understanding. Now we are going to watch the 4 outstanding speakers. They are Profesor Dr. Rudi Hartono, Bapak Nurhendi SS MPD, Ibu Imelda S. Lolowang SPD MA, and Dr. Xiang Baptist MD Sanfo. I will introduce also our moderators, Dr. JC Wuntu M. Hum, Ibu Merlin Maukar SSMA, Ibu Deli Sabudu SPD MA, and Ibu Desi Batunan SPD MPD. They will introduce the speaker and guide us through the session. Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present the outstanding speaker today, Professor Dr. Rudi Hartono, SS MPD, with the topic Translation Technology for the Academic World, Challenge and Opportunities, that will be moderated by Dr. JC Wuntu M. Hum. Dr. JC Wuntu M. Hum, the time is yours. Ibu Dr. JC Wuntu M. Hum.
Okay, sorry. So thank you very much, Ibu Veronica. Dear audiences, good morning. So we will start directly this first presentation, and it will be delivered by Professor Dr. Rudi Hartono, SS MPD, and he will be talking about translation technology in academic work, challenges, and opportunity. So before moving to the presentation, I'm going to introduce this of our great speaker. So Professor Rudy now is active lecturing in English Language and Literature Department, Semarang State University. And as a professor, he has a very long list of his activities as a researcher, as well as an expert. So things that are considered important here is about his educational background and his involvement in organization or professional association. So Professor Rudy was graduated from Pajajaran University in English and Literature Study Program in 1995. And S2 program finished in 2001 from English Department Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and his doctoral program majoring in linguistic translation is from University of Surakarta, finished in 2011. And about his professional involvement, he is now as a English textbook writer and also translation analyst. He is currently as the chairman of English Language and Literature Study Program Association, and he still have some more important engagement in organization or professional association, but it cannot be shared here one by one because we have limited time. So I think I should give the time to our great speaker, Professor Dr. Rudy Hartono, SS MPD, for sharing about his knowledge as well as his experiences. So Professor Rudy, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, good morning all. Thank you very much for moderating me, Ibu Seisi, Ibu Dr. Seisi, yeah. And then we'll be with you 30 minutes. The Honorable, the President of Indonesian English Association, yeah, Language Association, Prof. Daniel, is my best colleague and then friends during our collaboration in Rilo Jakarta, yeah, doing IMO program. The Dean and Vice Dean of Language and Literature faculty, yeah, from Universitas Negeri Manado, and also Ibu Fevi, yeah, as the head of English department from Universitas Negeri Manado. Thank you for your invitation, yeah, especially to me.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to discuss and share the experience in relation to translation technology. It is just a little bit of my experience during teaching and also research, yeah, specifically or focus on translation or technology in translation world. Let me share my screen, yeah. Can you see my slides, Ibu Sesi? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, and all participants, yeah. Today's topic is translation technology. Yeah, translation technology, especially for academic world. Yeah, we are talking about challenges and opportunities. This is my short bio. So Ibu Sesi have introduced me, yeah, a little bit of my information, my ID, and then we are talking about at least 5 topics today. Yeah, we are introducing what translation technology is, and then academic demands on TransTech, translation technology challenges, opportunities, and products. I hope that what we are discussing today will be beneficial and useful for our teaching and learning process, yeah, for those who are teaching translation, and then whose interest in translation topics, yeah, or research. We know that translation technology, yeah, what we call famously computer-assisted translation tools, because when we do a translation process, yeah, a computer usually help us, yeah, in translating the text from one language to another. Nowadays, in the modern era, of course, yeah, we always use computer. Yeah, we always use, for example, very online devices. Yeah, many online devices for translating process. And in relation to translation technology, CAT, yeah, or CAT tools, yeah, stands for computer assisted translation tools, really assist us, yeah, in our daily work, yeah, in translating the text from one language to another. We know that this technology, yeah, in translation, yeah, of course, created by some what we call it designers, yeah, technology of translation designer, and really largely used, yeah, in many fields, yeah, of the study, especially in what we call that academic, yeah, academic field, yeah. For example, if we are going to translate, yeah, an academic paper, maybe we can consult, we can use translation software, yeah, even search engine, that's maybe free for us to do and to use, yeah. Those tools or translate tools, of course, is integrated, or all are integrated, yeah, with different function, yeah. And then it is really widely used by everyday user for various purposes, yeah, especially in our academic demand. Look at this, yeah. If we see the position of translation technology in the family tree of translation technology, yeah, we know that, or we are familiar with automatic translation tools. Yeah, this is what we know nowadays. For example, Google Translate. Google Translate is one of the MT network. Yeah, it is provided by the certain what do you call that designer and also administrator. Yeah. And there is also MT standalone. Yeah, it is the automatic translation tool. And come to the computer-aided translation tools. Yeah, we know some. For example, translation tools, and then linguistic tools, localization tools, and translation tools. TM and TMS. Yeah, this is TM, translation memory. It is different from machine translation. Yeah, machine translation really a facility that can help us translate, yeah, one text to another. But translation memory, it is another device that can help us in translation process. But maybe the system, yeah, the system that the device has, yeah, is different from, yeah. And then another tools, yeah. For example, in the part of linguistic tools, there are two kinds of linguistic tools: language dependent, yeah, like dictionaries and glossaries, and then language independent, yeah, OCR. It is optical character recognition, yeah. So it's like a machine that can read and what do you call that render, yeah, the text, yeah, into other languages, yeah. And the second one is concordancer. It's like a machine that can see and look for, yeah, the agreement or concord between one language to another, yeah, especially in vocabulary, yeah. And the third one, part of the computer-aided translation tools, is localization tools. Yeah, it's like a document management and project management. Yeah, it is the family tree of translation technology. And then what our demands, in relation to our academic world, and relation to translation technology, we are in our daily life really using translation tools or translation technology, for example, for translating official letter, and then we need it, to translate book or ebooks, and also if we have some academic documents, we use technology, of translation, to translate those documents. And then campus website, we need to translate. Maybe we can use some translation tool or application or software. And also if we want to translate research report, and finally we can translate academic article. Those activities need transtech product or transtech devices to overcome our problems in translation process. And translation technology especially in the academic world, one of them, is what do you call as the CAT tool, a computer assisted translation tool, for example, SDL Trados, SDL Trados is very famous for us to know, Those translation technology, can be useful in teaching and learning process, and then some other academic activities, when we teach or learn one subject, of course, sometimes we need translation technology product, for our teaching activity, and also for student, student can do their creation, when they want to translate some texts, they can use search engine, Transtool or any other translation software, and for academic other academic activities, for example, researchers to produce their productivity, sometimes researchers need translation devices, to overcome their problem, especially in translating their research result, for example, when they are going to translate their academic paper, those are academic goals, for us in the academic world or in academic atmosphere, the problem is if it is a part of the challenges, in relation to translation technology. So we are as human beings or human translators, will human translators be replaced by computers some days, especially for translating job, when we do our translation process, will we be able replaced by computers or maybe machine translation or not? It depends on. But of course, in my mind, finally we can see the result that machine, will not, of course, will not make human translator in danger, because it is a big problem. In my mind, a machine will not replace our job, especially in translation, because we have very specific characteristics and for example, difference between machine and human. Human has the human touch, has feeling, and also what they call consideration, to choose a very specific and valuable meaning, for our translation, what equivalence, to understand, it is about the challenges in translation technology, and if we see the continuum of translation technology, so of course the human involvement, it is maybe just in the AD translation part, not automatic translation. Automatic translation and computer AD translation is a part of machine, and our position is in an unaided translation, because translation process not aided by any electronic tools. It is our position. Maybe it is our job here, So maybe it can be a challenge for human beings to be a translator in the modern era, because everything, translation process, translation activity will be handled, by automatic translation machine, computer aided translation devices, But beside, we know some challenges. Maybe there are disadvantages, or maybe problems, or maybe just shortcomings. Yeah, but we have opportunities to use translation technology for our daily life, especially in academic world. Yeah, because technology itself, yeah, it is just a facilitator or accelerator that can help us, yeah, in what we call that, in translating or translate our text, yeah, quickly, and maybe the cost will be more effective and cheaper than, yeah. Although based on the research, the human translator can be cheaper, yeah, then what do you call that, machine translation, yeah, because if we want to use translation software, we must buy what do you call it, we must spend much money, yeah, to have it. It is based on the research, yeah. We know that finally human translator can be more effective than machine, yeah. Yeah, don't worry about that, yeah. And when we see our opportunities to handle our translation job or translation activity, yeah, we know that there are 7 reasons, yeah, why machines cannot replace human translation, yeah, or human translators, I mean. Yeah, because machine, we know that machine itself is created and managed, yeah, and also what do you call that, designed by human beings, yeah. A universal machine translation, yeah, seems impossible, yeah, to overcome all problems in translation process and activity, because machine itself cannot select the correct register. And the third one, we know that language, yeah, always evolves, yeah, and then it is not the machine, what they call that, authority to overcome the problem in language evolution. For example, in syntax shift, meaning shift, and any other parts of linguistics, yeah, the evolutions of syntax, the evolutions of meaning, yeah, it is not part the machine capability. It is a part of our humans being capacity, yeah. And then software, yeah, must be updated every time, where the human beings can develop their understanding and their capacity of vocabulary every time, and machine cannot match the versatility, yeah, of human mind, because human beings have what they call that, touch feeling, and also touch thinking, yeah, that what the machine do not have, yeah. This is what we should know in relation to the opportunities for us in the technology of translation, yeah. And then there are some other reasons, yeah. Finally, humans, yeah, will win, yeah, this era, because translating words, yeah, will be multiple meaning that cannot be handled by machine. And then, of course, human beings master style and tune of language, yeah, while machine, yeah, does not, yeah. And then machine cannot understand figurative languages. Machine cannot understand proverbs, for example, and idioms, while human beings, translator, can understand it. And don't worry about the culture differences. Machine will not understand culture differences, while human beings can understand those, yeah, culture specific items. And also, if we talk about casual and professional translation, yeah, machine will not understand the politeness, yeah. If we talk about something using our language to the superior, yeah, machine cannot understand, yeah, what expression should be expressed if we talk about something to or talk to superiors, yeah, because we can select between casual and professional languages, yeah. Time and also one of that machine will not what they call the handle, because human beings cover the times, yeah, because what they call that, times that will be managed and organized, yeah, by human beings for that machine, not humans being, yeah, themselves, yeah, in what they call that, managing the time for themselves. Yeah, and then speed delivery, cost of translation, can be cheaper than, based on the research like that. And the last one is certified translation. Machine will not be certified, while human beings will have a certification level, because human being translator can be certified. They can have certificate, for their what they call their translation capability, while machine will not have certificate. This is the difference between humans being translators and machine translators. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, all participants, because it is only 30 minutes, So you can see some what they call some information in relation to translation, especially in the future, predicted in 2030. There will be translation singularity. Everything will be in the form of translation. There will be unlimited content of translation. One text can be translated into more than 150 languages. There will be more than 150 translation in the world, and sometime maybe in the future, everything in relation to translation will be handled by robot, or artificial technology. And then it is just only a plug and play data of translation. Are we worried about that? In my mind, it is not. Don't worry, be happy, because human beings is higher than in translation capacity and knowledge, in acquiring and also what do you call that, mastering language in the world. Although finally there will be machine to machine translation, not human beings to human being translation. But it is what they call it, a challenge for us to overcome in our daily life. Okay. Nah, so because many opportunities in our, especially in our academic world, in relation to translation technology, because translation technology produce many products, we just utilize all for our what do you call that, teaching and learning process, for example, such as computer aided translation, and then interpreting technology, machine translation. We know that many machine translation providers, we can distinguish between machine translation versus human translation, because finally human translation have what they call that, the high benefits for our translation productivity. Although we can see, although machine translation has advantages and disadvantages. You can read some, because I will share this slide. Don't worry about that. But of course, human translation also has advantages and disadvantages. For example, translators rarely work for free, while machine not. Maybe machine will be faster than humans being translation process. If you want to know some providers of machine translation, it is not only Google Translate, by many machine translation providers. Everybody here can choose one by one. For example, Babylon, and then also IBM, IBM Watson Language Translators, Automatic Trans. Beside that, the product of translation technology, we will be familiar with translation management system, and also translation memory. Translation memory is different from machine translation, because in the system process of translation memory, really we can use some words we have translated in the translation process, because TM stores translated content we did in the previous activity. For example, we translate and then we can save, and then sometimes we can reuse. It is different from machine translation. Machine translation cannot what store and save our translation. But TM, translation memory, can do that. When we translate the text, as far as we save into the, for example, term base, we can save some vocabularies and also terms, and someday we can reuse all vocabularies or terminologies when we are using them again in the next process. Yeah, it is what the translation memory does in their process. For example, if you want to know, yeah, the popular one is SDL traders. Yeah, there are many TM providers. Please choose one by one, or maybe you can try one. Yeah, one of them. Yeah. Beside other translation technologies, we also know website translation technology, and then also optical character recognition, or COR. Yeah. Sorry, OCR. Yeah, it is the picture like this. Yeah, it's like translator readers. Yeah, that machine. Yeah, that facility can detect. Yeah, can detect the text and then translate. Yeah, into other languages. And also core condenser. Yeah, it is like what they call that, a system or facility that can translate. Checking the vocabulary, whether it is concording or not, yeah, agreed or not to the other entries, yeah, of language, yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to know more about translation technology, we can see 6 trends, yeah. For example, Systrand, SDL translation, Lion Bridge, Skype Translate, and Google Translate, and iTranslate. Yeah. So if you know, yeah, more about those translation tools, yeah, we can also see, and it is maybe good for you, yeah, because they are recommended, yeah, for translators, yeah. Lingua, SDL Trados, and many, yeah, Memox and else. This is also what we call that online trans tool, yeah. Some of them are free. For example, Babylon or Translate Reference. Please choose, yeah, some of them, yeah, beside using Google Translate, but exactly many providers, yeah, that give you free, yeah, to use those online trans tool, yeah. Here are the others, yeah, for you to choose or to try. And yeah, maybe it is just conclusion, yeah, for our discussion today. Translation technology, yeah, is just a facilitator. Yeah, it can be a partner, and also, yeah, it will be accelerator. Not, of course, not enemy and competitor. Yeah, don't worry about machine translation and translation memory and other translation technology in our surroundings. Yeah, but of course, we suggest that, yeah, whenever and wherever we are using translation technology, yeah, and we know that it is useful, but yeah, please, yeah, do not use, yeah, those technologies of translation, yeah, can replace our learning languages, yeah, because learning languages, yeah, will be what they call the better, yeah, if we really guided, yeah, and managed by human beings, yeah, themselves. Yeah, thank you very much, yeah, for your attention. And I hope that everything what I have discussed and introduced today will be beneficial and useful for you all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Rudy. So this is really inspiring for all of us who are dealing with language. So this is really an important issue in this rapid technological era, dealing with languages. We all who deal with English language and as an international language that have a complex, we have a complex assignment in handling the need of people in this hemisphere that goes simultaneously with the rapid of this technological era. So machine translation is a good partner of human translator. The sophisticated technological tool for translation cannot defeat human capacity in doing the translation. So that is really useful for us all who deals with languages. So of course, we have the chance, the audiences will have the chance to give questions at the end of this, at the end of of the presentation, of all the presentation. So I would like to give it back to our MC, to Ibu Veronica.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Dr. Chesi Wuntu Mhum for guiding the presentation. Thank you also Dr. Rudi Hartono, SSMPD. What a great discussion. Greatly increase our knowledge. Thank you, Professor. And now we are going to continue to the next speakers. Bapak Nurhendi, SSMPD, with the topic Orientalism Analysis in a Fiction, that will be moderated by Ibu Merlin Maukar, SSMA. Ibu Merlin Maukar, SSMA, the time is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moderator. Well, thank you for the chance given. Shalom. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, all the webinar attendees. It's a pleasure to virtually meet you in this wonderful day, in the 4th virtual web seminar of IELA in cooperation with English Language and Literature Study Program, Faculty of Language and Art, Universitas Negeri Manado. We are going to proceed to the next session of this webinar, but first, allow me to introduce you to the speaker of this session. Mr. Nurhendi SSMPD was graduated from UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta in 2006, majoring in English Language Literature, and in 2015, he got his master degree from Universitas Indraprasta PGRI, majoring in English Language Education. Having taught in several universities, such as Pancasakti University Bekasi and STBA Cipto Hadipranoto, he is also engaged in company or house English instructor for some companies, currently at World Bank Office Jakarta. Mr. Nurhendi SSMPD now holds a management position as the third head assistant of academic affairs of STBA Cipto Hadipranoto since 2014 until now. And today, he will generously share his insights to us all under the topic Orientalism Analysis in Fiction. Well, without further delaying, we will give chance to Mr. Nurhendi SSMPD. Please, sir, the screen is all yours.
Okay, thank you so much, dear moderator, Ibu Merlin. For today, I would like to maybe to share my insights related to the one of the literary criticism, that is Orientalism. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's start. Okay. Orientalism was actually Orientalism is a book written by Edward Said, and since its publication in 1978, much academic discourse has begun to use the term Orientalism to refer to general patronizing the Western attitude towards Middle Eastern. Not only Middle Eastern, but also the African or also Asian. Okay, and not only discussing the maybe the theory itself, but I also like to analyze directly with the application. In one novel, in one fiction, the title is Family Tree written by Barbara Delinsky. Okay, let's go to the second slide. Okay, Orientalism, yeah, actually it talks about the relation, yeah, between the West and the East, or in other words, I mean in Edward Said's book, yeah, the West is represented by the Occident, yeah, and the East is the Orient, yeah. At this moment, the relationship of the Occident and the Orient, yeah, becomes the relationship of power, of domination, of varying degree of a complex hegemony. Okay, and even there are some stereotypes, yeah, created by the West, yeah, according to Edward Said. And now let's see in the third slide. Okay, as we see, the Occident identifies themselves as superior, rational, yeah, and order, center, we or us, yeah, and also civilized. Meanwhile, yeah, they describe the Orient as inferior, irrational, chaos, margin, they or them, and barbaric. So yeah, those are the interesting uh, things, yeah, that brought by the Orientalism. Okay, so let's
Yeah, I'm
continue.
very sorry,
Yes,
Mr. Handy.
yes, ma'am.
Can you please full screen?
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Maybe. Okay, wait a second.
Yeah, so we can listen and look at the presentation.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Handy.
Yes. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here are the interesting facts, yeah, about the Occident and also the Orient. And so that's why we said, yeah, as we see in the previous slide, it is said that the relationship is about domination. Yeah, it is also about power. Yeah. Okay, and of course, yeah, the domination. Yeah, who dominates? Of course, the Occident or the West here. Okay, let's continue. Okay, Orient is the Western creation that is used to call the Eastern that is seen from the Western spectacles. The Orient defined as the other, or them, or they. Yeah, the Orient is the submissive race, or the Negroid or the Mongoloid. Yeah, to the European, while the Occident is the Western, or we, or us. Yeah, and it is the opposite of the Orient. And the Occident is the Western creation as their identity to make a difference, yeah, with them or with the other or with the Orient. And the Occident is representing as the comparison for the Orient and positions themselves as the superior, yeah, according to Edward Said, yeah, based on his book. Okay, okay. So I think we have seen, yeah, the theories. Yeah, we have discussed about the Orientalism itself. Yeah, where in Orientalism we will also find there are binary oppositions. Yeah, so the binary oppositions are the Occident and the Orient. So now maybe let's continue. Yeah, with the analysis from the fiction itself. Okay. Yes, the book. Yeah, I mean the novel. The novel is Family Tree. Maybe I will continue. Okay, the Family Tree. It talks about a couple. Yeah, both are white. Yeah, white people, white couple. I mean, and the problem comes when they have a baby girl. Yeah, but the baby girl has an Afro in African in appearance. So that the conflict comes. The conflicts arise. Yeah. Okay, and then so that's the conflict arise, and the family from the husband, yeah, or the father of the husband, yeah, that is Ethan Ames Clark, yeah, actually he he disregard or he dislikes, yeah, about the new baby girl, yeah, the newly born baby girl, yeah. That's name is Elizabeth Ames Clark, yeah, or we call it as Lizzie. Why? Because Lizzie has a unique, I mean, has a different appearance, yeah. Okay, so what the problem, yeah? I mean, what makes Lizzie, yeah, has an appearance in appearance? That's the conflict arise, yeah, in this novel. Okay, so let's continue. Sorry. Okay, I think I missed one thing here. Uh, okay, yeah. Actually, from this novel, yeah, Ethan Ames Clark, we can take him as the oxidant. Yeah. So when we come to the theory of binary opposition, the Ethan Ames Clark, yeah, he becomes the oxidant, and then who is the Aryan? Okay, the Aryan actually his own son, yeah, Hugh Clark, yeah. Okay, as we see, yes, yeah, Hugh Ames Clark. He is the son of Ames, yeah, the Ethan Ames Clark. Okay, and Hugh Ames Clark is the as the Aryan. Okay, why? So why Ethan as the oxidant? Okay, he represents what is it? The quality, yeah, of oxidant, which is domination. Yeah, he is superior, and yes, and he is also rational. Yeah, in this novel. And then why Hugh Clark becomes uh, the Aryan? Yeah, because it is said that he is irrational. Yeah, and also he is the inferior. Yeah. Okay, maybe let's see. Okay. As the story tells that Ethan Ames Clark is physically was born as one of the noble Caucasian family in America, who was his great great grandfather came to America in the Mayflower, which was everyone knew it as slave carrier ship from Africa and respected by his society for his prestige as an author and a historian. Also for his family prestige, who were as successful politicians, diplomats, and businessmen. Okay, and then when his son Hugh Ames Clark having a baby, yeah, with the appearance, he doubted Lizzie as his son. Yeah, why? Yeah, because of the appearance. Yeah, the baby has a different appearance. Yeah, with his own son, Hugh Ames Clark. So he was so ashamed. Yeah, and he subordinate Dana, yeah, his daughter-in-law, yeah, yeah, who was unknown her father. I mean, unknown her father. Actually, Dana is the wife of Hugh Ames Clark. Yeah, or the daughter-in-law. She came from we may say unknown, yeah, unknown family, yeah, because she came. It is said, yeah, in the novel that he came from yeah, from a different family as Hugh Ames Clark. Okay, and then Ethan actually, yeah, he suspected that the source of Lizzie, yeah, is because of Dana or or his daughter-in-law, yeah, has an affair, yeah, with a neighbor, yeah, with his or her own neighbor, yeah, and it is called and his name is David. Okay, next. Okay, and then but he was shocked, yeah, by the truth that he doubted.
Nanti Ime jelaskan. Dia ada masalah.
Okay, so can I carry on? Okay, but he was shocked then by the truth that he doubted, and be hidden before that he just knew after Hugh, who was just knew also after Lizzie's and Hugh's sickle cell test, that finally Lizzie, yeah, is Hugh's own daughter. Yeah, so in the rest of the story, yeah, it is said, yeah, it is told that uh, Ethan's own great great grandmother, yeah, has an affair, yeah, has an affair with yes, with the Afro man. So finally, and it's unique story, yeah. So that the baby of Hugh Clark, yeah, so that he becomes, yeah, he has, oh, sorry, she has the, yeah, a different appearance, yeah, with his own son. Okay, next, let's continue. Okay, Hugh Clark, yeah, the character. He is the first child, yeah, of Ethan Ames Clark. Yes, and if we see here, actually, we take Hugh Clark here. That's the interesting fact, yeah, that we take Hugh Clark as the Orion. Why? Because he has the quality of becoming the Orion here. Yeah, in the novel, it is told that Hugh Clark, yeah, has helped many minorities. Yeah, many people from minorities or impoverished people. Okay, so maybe we may see here the example. And the next, let's continue. Okay, and Hugh Clark married a woman named Dana Joseph. Yeah, she is uh, the daughter-in-law of Ethan. Yeah, just Dana Joseph. Yeah, actually, she has a family background that is not as good as Hugh. Yeah, but because of the relationship, they finally got married. Yeah, and after 2 years, they have a baby, and the baby's name is Elizabeth Ames Clark. Yeah, as I told you, as we have seen in the previous slide, that the baby has a has a different appearance. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, but finally, when he take the DNA test, finally, the result says that Lizzie, actually Hugh's own daughter. Yeah, so and Dana, yes, of course, yes, Dana, her own mother. Yeah, so actually, the problem is not from the couple. The problem comes not from the couple, Hugh and also Dana. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, both male characters reflect the binary opposition, the Occident versus the Orient. Yeah, Ethan as the characters that feel so proud of being white as a Caucasian, obsessed with the great ancestors' heritage. Yeah, and so on. Sorry. Okay. Okay, though Hugh as the Aryan, maybe at first he seems to be left behind, at the beginning of the story, but at the end, after the DNA test, finally, he can prove that Lizzie, or Elizabeth Ames Clark, as her own daughter. So that's the unique, of Orientalism. Actually, Orientalism is one theory, and in the process, there are some critics, for this theory. Why? Because the founder, the founder of this theory itself, Edward Said, of course, he was an American, but actually he was born in one country in Middle East. So that's why there are some critics, about this theory, because this theory seems to make the negative things, on the West countries, on the white people. That's the critics. But this theory is a unique theory. Yeah, there are many other theories, but I think because this theory is interesting to be analyzed, to be used as the in analyzing a novel or a fiction. So I take this. So I take this theory. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Ethan M. Clark. Yeah. We may see the quality. Yeah. He is the Occident, superior, Caucasian, and also rational, and also dominating. Okay. So we carry on. And he, M. Clark. Yeah. He is as the Orient. He is inferior. and he is different. Why? Because he has a unique baby. Yeah. And then also he is irrational. Yeah. How come? Yeah. If we see from the novel, how come the mother and the father are white? Yeah. But the daughter is different in appearance. Okay. So we may say these are the quality, yeah, of the Occident, and previously those are the quality of the Orient, and previous are the Occident. Okay, so I think let's continue. Yes, maybe for the PowerPoint, I can share it later. Okay. Okay, yes. Okay, as the Occident, Ethan Ames Clark definitely dominates Hughes' life. Yeah, therefore Hughes has to face what his father says. Frankly, he is influenced by Ethan's statement that the baby is not his own daughter. Hughes is not a rationalist person as his father. He doesn't care if his baby has a color complexion different from him. Otherwise, to convince himself and his family that Dana didn't have an affair, he must take a DNA test, yeah, and then trace his wife's own family, even though yes, of course, it hurts her feeling. Okay, so maybe this is the last slide. Yeah, this is the writer, yeah, or the author of Family Tree. Yes, I think it is a very nice novel. Yeah, the story is unique. Yeah, different from the other. Yeah, maybe most of the other different from most of other novels. Okay, so I think that's all for my presentation. Yeah, thank you so much. So I give it back to you, moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nurhandi SSMPD, for the insightful material about the Occident versus Orient, and also the objective material, which is the family tree by Barbara Delinsky, is very interesting. And I would like to give the chance if there are any questions that you wish to give to Mr. Nurhandi SSMPD, you can ask via Slido, an application that will be shared by the committee in the chat room. And once again, we are very grateful for your insightful materials, Mr. Nurhandi. Thank you so much. And I will give back to the MC, Miss Veronica Damopoli.
Okay, thank you Pak Nur Hendi SSMPD and also the moderators Ibu Merlin Maukar SSMA. Now we come to the next speakers, Ibu Imelda Lolowang SPD MA, with the topic Understanding American Historical Change through Cultural Traditions, Physical Environment and Literature, that will be moderated by Ibu Deli Sabudu SPD MA. Ibu Deli Sabudu, the time is yours.
Well, thank you, Ibu MC, Ibu Veronica. Welcome, everyone. Finally, we come to the third session of our webinar today. My name is Deli Sabudu, SPDMA, and I will be moderator of the third speaker. Actually, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all, and I will accompany during the presentation of the third speaker. And right now, allow me to read the speaker's curriculum vitae. Our third speaker is Ibu Imelda Siskalolong, SPDMA. She was graduated from English Education Department, FPBS IKIP Negeri Manado, in 1999. Then she continued her master degree in California State University, Fullerton, USA, majoring in American Studies through Fulbright funding 2008. And now she occupied as the Secretary of Language and Literature Study Program, Faculty of Language and Arts, Universitas Negeri Manado in the period of 2020 up to 2024. And she will deliver the topic of her presentation entitled Understanding American Historical Change Through Cultural Traditions, Physical Environment, and Literature. As I mentioned previously, Ibu Melda is majoring in American Studies, so I believe that she will deliver her topic well related to the changes process in American history. She will provide us with the cultural tradition, physical environment, and literature. And I also believe that it will enlarge our perspective as well as knowledge about the superpower country just like America. And as the moderator, I will accompany you throughout the presentation and discussion of the third speaker, Ibu Imelda Lolowang.
Thank you, Ibu
As
Deli.
I explained, the topic of Ibu Imelda is very interesting, and I myself, and I think all of you, come to the question, what actually happened with the changes process of American history? And this question will be answered by Ibu Imelda through her presentation. Okay, everyone, without waiting any longer time, I invite Ibu Imelda Lolowang to deliver her presentation. The time is yours, Ibu Imelda.
Thank you, Ibu Deli, for the introduction. I would like to share my material here.
Will you share by yourself, Ibu Imelda?
Sure.
Oh.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the abstract of my article. This article aims to look at the relationship between the cultural traditions, the physical environment, and literature as part of literary works that usually serve as creators of public myth. The context of this understanding is taken from the 17th century to the 20th century, and I choose several sources of historical facts and literary works which implicitly or explicitly describe various concepts about the environment and frontier. The descriptions and concepts from these sources are a fundamental approach that are used to describe the interconnectedness of American culture and its environments. So I think we will be learning and reflecting from this great example of interconnection to be able to apply it itself to our own culture and interconnectedness. Okay. The relationship between the cultural traditions and physical environment is like the love and hate relationship between a farmer and the land. On one hand, a farmer depends on the land. On the other hand, a farmer needs or must toil to get something good out of the land, which is a very hard and difficult work, we believe. And according to Jane Tompkins, American literature is a representation of the people or the history. It affects the way people understand their lives. And that's why later on, the literary works also can become responsible for defining historical conditions. Okay, we will be looking through the subtitles or the sub-ideas of frontier myth, slavery and racism, the westward movement and nomadicity, and the frontier in mind. Richard Slotkin, in his book Gunfighter Nation, The Myth of the Frontier in the 20th Century America, said that or argues that the longest lived of American myths with origins in the colonial period and a powerful continuing presence in contemporary culture. Frontier is the longest lived of American myths. It is an extremely important and persistent as one of the operative ideological systems that forms American culture. Its ideological underpinnings are those same laws of capitalist competition, of supply and demand. So we have like an interconnection between supply and demand, just like the economic interest that is going on every day. There is always a supply and demand in economy and also in frontier. Frontier here can be a space, a piece of land. It can be an occupation or a job, and so on. The 17th century began with the coming of the English migrants, and later on we learned that not only the English migrants from the East Coast coming from England to the North American sphere, but also from African, in this case the Black Americans, and of course from Asian countries or Asian nations too. What allured the people to go to America is the vastness of the American land. That is one of the important factors that keep the westward movement happen as the promotional image of the land of opportunity and freedom that also allured the people. Settlers were tempted to show off their superiority to the Indians in the sensitive relationships they had been building and throwing down whenever they needed. I would like to pay attention to Robert Frost's poem here, The Gift Outright, recited in Kennedy's presidential inauguration, quoting, invoked the mythology of savage war to symbolize the processes that had created our American nationality. And in this case, Slotkin quoted from the poem, possessing what we still were unpossessed by what we now no more possess, Such as we were, we gave ourselves outright. The deed of gift was many deeds of war to the land vaguely realizing westward. In this case, Slotkin is convinced that the American land became theirs when they had already given themselves to it, even though they have to go through war and death. Since the westward movement is the only historical event referred to in this poem, it refers primarily to the European settlers who regenerated their identities and generated their nation by violently dispossessing the Native Americans, who unfortunately never mentioned in the poem. However, in other words, America is hard to see. Frost reminds us about the original promise of the frontier myth and of American history is to provide the basis for an exceptional future, a new departure from the fatal limitations of human nature and European society. Kindness, as suggested by the poem, is not a charity for the unprivileged, but an essential part of kinship among mortal men. And so put of the very day when we would have to put our mind on how to crowd but still be kind. This is a very interesting part of the poem, even though we are crowded with economic necessities, competition, and so on. But here, there's a good idealism here that we still need to be kind. The other important cultural system established in the so-called free world, according to Edmund Morgan in American Slavery, American Freedom, the ordeal of colonial Virginia was slavery and racism. Of course, we know all along how slavery had been developing through the past in American history. The cost of settlement in the new colonial region was expensive, and some white people had been succeeding in gaining their freedom, which later caused demands in the labor market. Okay, in the settlement, the white people tried to have their freedom by working out in the land, by gaining their freedom, claiming their freedom, and that's why there it caused demands in the labor market. Okay, who would tend the farm when the white people are claiming that they are free? Who will be their laborers? As this situation met the affordable price and availability of black slaves in the 18th century, intersecting with some laziness of white wage earners, the black slavery was justified as a solution for the planters. The system was okay. The colonial belief system in freedom, which emerged from the witnessing and experiencing of the opposite freedom. So that there are some opposites here. There is a great longing for freedom, but also there is a necessity to work on the new land, the very vast landscape of the American nature. Who will work on this land? Not the people who are claiming themselves free. In the region of abundance, in the promised land of freedom, emerged cultural paradoxes. Expectation could not meet reality as soon as they were conceived. In Harriet Beecher Stowe's work, she powerfully showed the sentimental novel or the sentimental story of the 19th century in Uncle Tom's Cabin. In this novel, she convinces that laws or the formation of political pressure groups would not be able to abolish slavery. So she didn't believe in laws in abolishing slavery. Why? Because if slavery were to be abolished by these means or just by laws, the moral conditions that produced slavery in the first place would continue in force. So it does not depend on the laws, but it depends on the moral conditions that actually produce slavery. On the contrary, Thomas Jefferson's notes on Virginia Negro slavery 1784, he stated that for in a warm climate no man will labor for himself who can make another labor for him. So these are the paradoxes. We need American people need the moral condition to abolish slavery, to have the same freedom as what they have been dreaming of. But on the other hand, as wage earners or as masters of the land, they would not labor for themselves, especially when they have other people they can pay for to labor for them. For the case of the middle country, we move now to the middle country, the westward movement and nomadicity. This is the nature of the land reflected in the interaction between its culture and environment. Sometimes we have a misconception about the land. People would think that the land would always be fruitful to sustain the life of the people, but unfortunately, the land can have just shallow root system that gives the people, the American people, a false image of easy access to settlement and prosperity. On the other hand, we can see the free roaming Indians in the winter. What do we make of this? These free roaming Indians in the winter, in a very difficult season of the year, were not the sign of freedom at all. Why? Because it is a sign of difficulties and struggles to earn resources. And this really suits the culture of the Native Americans, which are nomadic in the plains where the Indians live. The repeated nomadicity has displaced the people, and this kind of nomadicity put the people into isolation, into the new unknown, threatening, lonely places, far from their family and friends, away from the east, going westwards, and they have to endure their longing for freedom, as well as to face the loneliness and the threatening situations in a new region, which is very hard to tame. Okay, in a cowboy ballad here, we can see some stanzas saying, "Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie, where the wild coyotes will howl over me, in a narrow grave just 6 by 3. In fancy I listen to the well-known words of the free, wild winds and the song of the birds. I think of home and the cottage in the bower, and the scenes I loved in my childhood's hour." The intensity of Euro-American culture in the westward movement, with horse as its movement and speed symbol, has taken part in the extinction of the Indian culture, the symbol of wild environment of the West. So the paradoxes continue. And what happened when the towns grew crowded and more people are coming from the east to the west? What do we understand from this? What would happen to the native culture? The free roamers still had to roam the land, this time not out of freedom. But why do they still roam the land in searching for freedom? But also they must roam the land to avoid threat and survival, to find or to search for the perfect life according to their own standards. That's why they become nomadic. And nomadicity has also been a ritual of the dominant culture. Pick, pick up along the way, infused to their blood, and still possess the people out of desperation or just dissatisfaction. While people became nomadic, because there is always desperation and dissatisfaction of something that they keep looking for the perfect life, the perfect land for them. When economic standards becomes the main reason for motivation or motivation for social and cultural interaction, even the race and heritage of one group cannot save them from discrimination. For example, the Okies that were expelled from the Dust Bowl when it became so unproductive by around 1930s, when the prairie struck back against the greedy exploitation of the land by the English immigrants. Now, the Okies were not welcomed by their own brothers in California, for example. They are not welcome as brothers and sisters because of their label of poverty. Okay? They become an alien race. And the picture of these poor folks on the media were source of disgust. They were recognized as losers and troublemakers instead of brothers and sisters because they could not make it well like the other immigrants. They were still poor and could not compete for their American dreams. That's why that's also became their that also give rise to their Oki subculture, where all the people who are all labeled losers come together and they feel comfortable with their own kinds or their own people, and they were proud of their identity and felt united with each other that shared the common misery. Okay, the terms frontier and regions are also applicable to the abstract matters like human mind and family, when all of the frontier borders have been reached or tamed. As America developed the new expansion of movie industry, the regions of human mind and family life were in danger. The power of the movie medium could bring about a secular conversion among the masses as it penetrated the subconscious with its silent message. As some natives, or more exactly the consumers here, they have moral value expanded and they have to conquer with their skill and power to through the movie industry. They charm the plural society with their images, their movie industries that were supported by capitalism at that time. For the establishment of the industry, the movie people came with an idea to keep the audience that they would keep coming to the theaters. In this case, they built beautiful theaters and they created a consumption allure as keys to the Hollywood image. In this case, they have a successful way of penetrating the family life with the movies. They study the family values and daily problems, and they make stories concerning their daily challenges of the people to identify with the groups of people. In this case, what do they say about Los Angeles, for example? Is it true that Los Angeles is erratic? That in the sweet national symphony of common sense, it is static? Many people blame the movies and the movie makers for LA's emotional rumpus, but actually, it can be seen that LA or Hollywood can be the trend-setting centers of American life, and it has become the compass of American culture. And the consumption goes on with also the coming of the advertisements of mass production to the products of made in America, and the mind and the dream of Americans are the new regions here. With the movie industries, the advertisements, they created the new frontier, which is the mind and the dream of the Americans. And there is also a negative side of advertising in this case. On the other hand, advertisement is seen as a mobilizer for the American industries, but on the other hand, it can tell lies. We know that in every advertisement there are always two sides. One side can be true, but the other side can be false. At the end of this quotation of the poetry, the poem, The Advertising Man in Printer's Ink, some call us the new town criers, others call us cockeyed liars. And when the American business investment expands internationally, the cultural expansion to the foreign countries is inevitable, and tensions and conflicts follow. It is just another frontier to tame emotionally or rationally. The images of either movies or product ads are symbols of American dream for sale. And as the frontier is still in progress, there is in this case, the international world should come to a universal peace. It is believed that there is a historical role of violence, unfortunately, as civilization requires peace, and as a means of peace is unfortunately war. It can be physical or it can be psychological war. According to Slotkin, this thesis of historical argument is essentially the same as Roosevelt's advocacy of American imperialism by armed force on the barbarian race. For Roosevelt, the choice of men of violence and conquest as the representative frontiersmen was appropriate to the kind of ideology he wished to justify. For him, significant action occurs at the cutting edge of expansion, where representatives of different races contend for mastery. So we still have movement, expansion as the nature of the American people going on. It is seen in the American cultural traditions, physical environment, and literature. although it cannot be denied that sometimes even the purest modern motive of expansion may be stained by certain interests, and probably for some of other modes of study, it would be hard to see the direct interaction between the people and the physical environment. However, it can be concluded that this basic approach has factually depicted the fundamental interaction between culture and environment in terms of the movement from various frontiers to regions over time and across space. This is the NO. This is the NO pioneer. This final sense, I watch you sift with meditative hands, measure the cup of conquest by James Rorty. The questions are, does the frontier line really stop there? And will the cup of conquest ever be enough for every human or every nation? It reminded me of what Mark Pransky said about the digital natives versus digital immigrants. Who are these digital natives and who are these digital immigrants? What are their problems? That can be interesting to ask these questions. Who belong to the digital natives and digital immigrants? And in this industrial revolution eras from 1.0 to 5.0, where are we in this era? Where is our real position? And what are our choices? And who are we? Who do we want to become? Humans or humanoids? And that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ibu Imelda Lolowang. What an interesting presentation. And Ibu Imelda, yeah, I think it looks like this is an injection of knowledge and information for all of us. Because Ibu Imelda has already elaborated about the American histories, cultural tradition, and literature, how the three aspects connected one to another. The question also comes, and what are we? Okay, are we now categorized as the frontiers for 5.0 era? This has become the interesting question to be answered for this session. Thank you very much, Ibu Imelda, for your nice presentation and your sharing for all of us. And this is the end of the session for the third speakers. And I give back this the next session to Ibu Veronica Damapuli as Master of Ceremony.
Well, thank you, Ibu Imelda Lolowang, SPD MA, for sharing very interesting topic about American history, and also the moderators, Ibu Deli Sabudu, MA. Then we finally come to the last outstanding speakers, Dr. Jean Baptiste MB Sanfo, with the topic Teaching Quality and Students' Learning Achievement in EFL, Theory and Evidence, that will be moderated by Ibu Daisy Batunan, SPD MPD. Ibu Daisy Batunan, SPD MPD, the time is yours.
Thank you so much, Ibu Master of Ceremony, Ibu Veronica. Good afternoon from Manado, Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, all the webinar attendees. Again, welcome to the fourth session of IELA International Virtual Seminar in collaboration with English Language and Literature Study Program, Faculty of Language and Arts, Universitas Negeri Manado. I'm Desi Batunan from Universitas Negeri Manado, and I will be your moderator for the fourth session. All the webinar attendees, please allow me to kindly remind us about some relevant information related to our webinar. First of all, if you would like to ask questions to speakers, please write your question in Slido. You need to write down your name, affiliation, and to whom your question addressed to. We are going to select the question to be delivered during question and answer session. And another thing to consider is that the link for certificate will be valid only 2 hours after the webinar finishes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, all the webinar attendees, I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Dr. Jean-Baptiste N.B. Sanfo. Dr. Sanfo is based in Japan and affiliated with Kobe University in Graduate School of International Cooperation Studies. He has written a number of manuscripts published in journal, and he has received some awards. One of them is Excellent Research Publication Award at the 26th Conference of Japan Society for Africa Educational Research Conference in September 2020. Bapak Ibu, in this wonderful occasion, Dr. Sanfo will be presenting about teaching quality and student learning achievement in EFL, theory and evidence. Without further ado, let us warmly welcome our speaker to deliver this talk. Dr. Sanfo, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Please allow me to share my screen. Where is it? This one. Is it okay? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, so thank you for the introduction. Indeed, I'm Sanfo Jean-Baptiste, and I'm based in Japan. I belong to Kobe University, the Graduate School of International Cooperation Studies. But in a few days, I will be moving to a different university. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present today, and I'm going to share about teaching quality and students' learning achievement in English as a foreign language teaching. And I'm going to focus on theory and evidence. So we have the theory on the one hand, and then the evidence on the other hand. So I'm focusing on EFL, but please bear in mind that what I'm going to share can also be applied to other subjects, whether it's mathematics, whether it's, I don't know, the teaching of science, and even at university level. So it's something which is more general. And the evidence I'm going to present will be based mainly on my personal research. I'm working on a research project, so I'm going to share part of my the results that I have in my research. So without taking more time, let me share the outline of the presentation. So I'm going to give an introduction, and after that, present some theories related to language teaching and language learning. And after that, I'm going to focus mainly on one of the theories that is really kind of accepted in many countries, and then see how much evidence we have based on this theory, and finish with recommendations. All right. So from the introduction section, we know that teaching quality is very important. I think that in many countries, some parents would choose a school because they believe that in such a school, the teaching of a good quality. So we can all agree, even though we are not the researchers, that the quality of teaching is very important for the success of students, whether it's something that's going to help them learn better or maybe get better skills that they can use in life. We all agree that teaching quality is very important for students. And speaking of teaching quality in terms of EFL or ESL, we can even say that it's much more important, because in many countries where students are learning English as a foreign language, they don't have opportunities outside the classroom to learn. So the exposure that they get in the classroom is the main exposure or the main opportunity for them to learn the language. So in such context, the quality of teaching is even much more important, because when the quality of that teaching is good, students will be able to improve, and that will really help them in their learning of the language. So that kind of implies that the behavior or what the teacher is doing is very important, because depending on how the teacher will teach the students, they will have better learning achievement, or they will have poorer better learning achievement. So there is a kind of interconnection between the students and the teachers in such a sense. And well, just to kind of repeat what I just said, if we take, for example, a given student A, and then the teacher adopts a teaching approach A to that student, and we take the same student and with the same teacher, but a different approach, obviously we are going to have different results. So I just said that the difference in pedagogies, the difference in teaching strategies are very important for the success of the students. So we need to bear that in mind, and how much quality we have in the teaching will result in different things, in different outcomes. So that's very important to bear in mind. And I think that most of us are familiar to learning or teaching and learning. And we know that there are many, many theories when it comes to teaching and learning. For example, I listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 teaching and learning theories. The behaviorism, for example, they consider that the learner is like a clean slate, so nothing is written on that slate, and then the learner starts off from that condition and then shapes his or her knowledge based on the reinforcement. The reinforcement is the kind of I don't know how to call it very simply, stimulation from the teacher. If the teacher is stimulating the students like in a positive way, then the students will get something positive. But if it's in a negative way, the students will get something negative. So that's basically speaking what this learning, teaching and learning theory is saying. So I'm not going to go into details with all the theories that I've mentioned, but the main point I want to focus on here is that quality teaching is based, or we can create quality teaching by drawing from various teaching styles or strategies which are based on educational theories. So that simply means that what we are doing in the classroom as teachers, it must be based on some theories that maybe have been shown to be effective in given context. So that's very important to bear in mind. So just, of course, we can create our own theory. We have our own way of seeing things, and we can then try to test and see how much that works for our students. So it's very important to bear that in mind when we are teaching. So the trial and error thing, it may work, but sometimes it may not work. And we know that in many countries, whether we are EFL teachers or whether we are general teachers, we don't have that much time and sometimes that much room to kind of get into that trial and error thing. So it's very important to bear in mind that as teachers, we need to base our focus on some theories that are shown to be effective, and this is how we get better teaching. And one model or one theory that is really popular in these days is what is called the basic dimensions of teaching quality. This is a theory that was created by Klieme, I'm not sure whether I pronounced the name very well, 2001. And it's a very popular theory to such extent that for those who are familiar with the PISA Learning Achievements Assessment, it's an international assessment applied in OECD countries. So for those who are familiar with that international assessment, the PISA is considering the theory when implementing the assessment. So in terms of the aspect of how to capture teaching quality in the OECD countries, this is the type of theory that they are implementing, and they collect their data based on that. So the theory is just saying that for teaching quality to be good, it needs to have 3 dimensions. And the first dimension is classroom management. The second dimension is cognitive activation. And the third dimension is student support. Some people would call it learner support or teacher support. It just depends on the terminology that you use, but they all refer to the same thing basically. So this is what the teaching theory is saying. So these 3 dimensions are very important, and they are the basic dimensions that you need to have in a teaching quality. And of course, these dimensions are based on some of the theories that we presented in the earlier slide. So it's based on theories or some approaches to teaching, just like I said before, because it's important to base our teaching practices and strategies on some theories that are known to be effective. So if we take, for example, I'm just going to present the classroom management. Classroom management is very important to learning. If you are in a developing country like mine, where the class size is about, I think, around 50 students per class, classroom management is very important, because when we have a big classroom, it's very difficult to handle the students. And when we cannot handle them, of course, they will be chatting, there will be some disruptive behaviors, and this affects us as a teacher, because we have to take time, even though we don't have much time already, we have to take time to solve such disruptive issues. And if the students are noisy, and we as a teacher, we are speaking, maybe other students who even want to concentrate, they cannot hear what the teacher is saying because of that noise. So it's very important to have a good classroom management in such a situation, because that will create the environment that is necessary for the students to learn, and even for the teacher to teach effectively. So this is basically speaking what this dimension of teaching quality is saying in terms of how we can do as EFL teachers to improve the learning achievement, or to improve the scores of our students. So this is for the dimension of classroom management. Let's move on to the dimension of cognitive activation. For cognitive activation, this is a kind of dimension that is focusing on getting the students to really think deeply when they are trying to solve a problem. For example, when we want to ask a question to the students, we don't have to ask very simple questions. We need to ask questions which are really challenging, cognitively speaking. And also, we can, when teaching, we need to get the students engaged in the process of learning itself. For example, if we want the students to solve a given problem, we can get them to first think of how they will proceed to solve the problem before even solving the problem itself. So it's like teaching the students how to learn, not the knowledge itself, but teaching the students how to learn. So this is what this cognitive activation dimension in the basic dimensions of teaching quality refers to. For the student support dimension, this is simply saying that we need to support the students. For example, if we have slow learners, we need to care for their needs. Whether the learner is slow or not, we need to kind of have a good relationship with students. And that's very important in terms of good relationship. If, for example, the student and the teacher, they are always, let's say, fighting, quote unquote, in the classroom, that's not good. It doesn't motivate the student to study harder. So the learning support or the student support, it can be an emotional support. It can also be a way of reducing the pace with which we are teaching. If, for example, our teaching style is very fast, for the students, we need to adapt that teaching style to the speed or the pace of the students, because this will really help them learn better. And to me, I don't see the importance of just going very fast while the students are not understanding what we are explaining. Of course, depending on the situation, it can be different, but this is really what the teaching support or the student support dimension is saying. We need to take into account many aspects of the learners in terms of emotions, in terms of how fast we are teaching. We need to take all these aspects into account when we are teaching, because these are the elements or these are the ingredients that really contribute to the better learning of our students. So that's basically speaking what the basic dimensions of teaching quality is saying. And based on this theory, based on this model, I'm conducting a research, and I use data basically, and my methodology of analyzing my data is relying on what is called hierarchical linear modeling, and some people would call it multi-level linear modeling. And basically speaking, the learning of the student or the educational context is divided into hierarchies or into different levels. And I just chose this one because it's, I think it's very common to many countries. We have the district first on top, and then we have the school, and at the bottom we have the students. So these are different levels that also affect the educational, the learning outcomes or the scores of students. If we take, for example, the district level, what the district level is going to decide as policies will affect the school. And then the school will affect the students. So all these differences or all these levels need to be taken into account when we are assessing how children learn. And some people or some researchers even take the school, and they divide it into school and classroom. So what the school has as practices or policies will affect the classroom, and then the classroom itself will affect the students. So when assessing the outcomes of students, this hierarchical linear modeling is kind of capturing all these different levels that, or the differences at different levels, which are affecting the outcomes of the students. And I use this type of modeling, and the data from Ethiopia, it's a country in Africa, and I want to show if the teaching theory that I just presented, the basic model of teaching quality, if this is really effective in improving the scores of students or not. So basically speaking, this is the core of my research. So based on the theory that we have, can we really use data to show if the theory is effective or not? And to show the results, I'm presenting here the analysis. So I would like you to mostly concentrate or focus on the, is it blue or green? It looks like it's gray, light green. The light green sections we have on the left table, we have cognitive activation. And when we go to column 1, 2, 3, which is model 3, this model 3 includes the variables, or it includes the factors of the student and the school itself. And we can see that we have 0.25 something. So this is the sign of this number is showing that the correlation between cognitive activation and student outcomes is positive. So we can consider that. But of course, stopping at this model is not enough, because we need to control for as many factors as possible. So controlling for means that we are holding things. So we consider all things to be equal. So we are holding some factors to see if cognitive activation is really effective in improving students' achievement or not. So from that perspective, we included, for example, the differences in terms of whether the students are from a rural school or an urban school. And that gave us model 4. And we see that in model 4, the sign of the correlation is still positive and significant, statistically speaking. And from that one, we even control, or we even include a random slope, what is called differences, because a given factor may be different. I mean, the effect of a given factor may be different depending on different schools or maybe different districts. So we accounted for that aspect, and we see that the coefficient still remains positive. So based on this evidence, we can say that cognitive activation indeed helps improve the learning achievements of students. And when we move on to the student support, and we follow the same procedure for the analysis at the student support level, and we see that from model 3, 4, and 5, our coefficient is positive. So that means, and statistically significant, because it's important to mention the significance in terms of statistics. So we see that cognitive activation and student support, they contribute to increase the score of students. So from these two aspects of the basic dimensions of teaching quality, we can see that indeed the theory is effective in the context of Ethiopia. It helps increase the learning achievement of students. But now, looking at the third dimension, classroom management. In classroom management, in our analysis from model 3, we see that there is, the sign is positive, but we don't have the stars. When you don't have a star, that means that it's not statistically significant. So moving to model 4, where we control for the difference in terms of rural schools or urban schools, we see that here, there is a statistical significance. But what's important from model 4 is that we see public school times school management. So initially, when we considered classroom management only, we didn't have any statistical significance. But when we included or we multiplied classroom management by public school, we got a score which is statistically significant. Here we have minus 0.25. So we have this one here. But just looking at the sign of this coefficient here, we cannot determine if this is good or bad, because we have two types of school here. Either the school is a public one or a private one. So just looking at this sign, we cannot say whether the significant coefficient is good for public schools or it's good for private schools. So because of that, we plotted how the direction of the what is called interaction term goes. And we see that here, the blue line represents private schools, and the red line represents government schools. We see that the blue line is higher than the government school, than the red line. So from this one, we can say that actually classroom management improves the learning achievements of students in private schools compared to students in government or public schools. We see that the line, the red line, is almost straight. So it means that students with more classroom management in public schools, the learning achievements of students are not improving. So it's if we look at it, the line closely, it's slightly decreasing. But for private schools, we see that the line is going upwards. The slope is upwards. So from this evidence, we can see that actually classroom management, or a good classroom management, is effective in private schools, but not in public schools. And of course, there are some mechanisms or some factors or differences within public schools and private schools that can help explain those differences. And one, or a recurring explanation, is, for example, that in public schools, students or classes are really large. So when there are so many students in a given classroom, whatever the teacher does will not even work, because some other students will be disturbing while some others want to concentrate. And whatever the teacher is doing, it will not work in such an environment. So depending on the context, that's the kind of conclusion that I want to mention related to this aspect. Depending on the context, our aspect or our dimension of teaching quality may not work. It may not be effective. So we need to take that into account. And based on that, I want to conclude by saying that indeed, evidence is showing that quality teaching is very important for students' achievement or for students' outcome in EFL context. But of course, we need to base our teaching on some theories, but we need to take an important aspect into account. We need to know that there is no theory that it is effective for all contexts. So that's why I'm saying here, there is no one size fits all in pedagogy. So it's important to take this into account and know that, well, even other theories that exist, we can also try to test them and see if they work or not in our given context. But of course, we may find that they are not working. And there are some context factors that can explain all these aspects. So I conclude by saying that, yes, teaching theories can function depending on our situation, and we need to take this specific situation into account when assessing the effectiveness of teaching theories. So from that, I want to say thank you very much for your attention. And I'm leaving you with two pictures from Kobe City. I live in Kobe City, Japan. And this is the season for cherry blossoms. And a lot of people are enjoying it, even though it's a little bit dangerous going out now. So thank you very much for your attention. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Sanfo. The presentation is indeed insightful and informative. So we are again reminded that the multifaceted factors that contribute to the quality of teaching, which is a teacher is the central actor in this field. But also besides that, there are also many other factors, including the context or the setting which teaching and learning process takes place. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanfo. So, Bapak, Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, all the webinar attendees, please let us give our virtual support by giving reaction to all those 4 great speakers. So yeah, please give our reaction to those informative, relevant, useful presentation given by our great speakers.
Guys, bagaimana sih itu Mem? Bagaimana? Ada jadi? Oh, so sorry, Bapak Ibu, there was
Oh, so sorry, Bapak Ibu, there was
okay, so let's
connection problem here. So okay, so let's proceed.
But
question
first,
session. But committee, please accept our apology, since it is apparently seems that there are so many questions, but we have a very limited time to address this question. So okay, let's get started. So the first question comes from Bu Andini, and the question is addressed to Pak Rudi Hartono. So it is in teaching learning process context. As a teacher, we need to help our students to boost their writing competence, but at the same time, we also need to incorporate technology into our teaching and learning process. And it seems that there is a worry as a teacher educator and as a teacher if the student rely too much on technology. So the question is, how can we as a teacher or teacher educator boost student English writing competence if most of them rely on the translation technology to complete the writing task? Bapak Rudi, yeah.
Okay.
What would you
Thank
say?
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Maybe the question can be for some participants that have the same question. Yeah. In my mind, technology is a facilitator. Everything produced by human beings in the form of technology product, those products can be facilitators for us. Yeah, it is just tools. Yeah. Like what we use every time, especially for students who have writing tasks. They write in Bahasa because they need English composition. They they directly use Google Translate, for example, to translate their bahasa into English. In my mind, it is no problem. It is no problem because Google Translate, for example, or any other translation machine can help them to translate, yeah, quicker than, yeah. But the problem is, do not let the English text, yeah, as the final one, yeah, because the product of writing, the product of translation produced or created by a machine, it is just a draft, yeah. We need to revise many times. So we are now who are using, for example, machine translation like Google Translate. We just a user, and then we just what do you call that, post editor, yeah, post editor. Machine just what do you call that, the tool that translates our text, but finally depends on us as human beings who know well what the problems of writing, because we must be able to, for example, to edit even, and then, for example, writing mechanism to see, to check the grammar whether it is acceptable or not in the target language. Yeah, we do not depend on 100% to machine translation, because we can be a post editor. Yeah, for example, if we translate a text in 1 minute, but we need a week, yeah, to revise our text in order to have a text that can be accepted, that can be natural, that can be readable, yeah, by English user over there. Yeah, we cannot depend on machine translation 100% without doing a revision. So because we can be an editor, a wise editor that can edit and revise our final product of translation. Yeah. On other occasion, students, for example, use electronic dictionary. It's okay, no problem. Instead of using a printed dictionary or a dictionary in the form of book, yeah, we can use many software or electronic dictionary, because electronic dictionary is just what they call a tool that can help students to find out the equivalence word fast. But it is not just for translating the text. Yeah, we can use other machine translation to translate the text from Indonesian into English. But yeah, it is a warning for all students, for everybody who use machine translation when they translate the text. Yeah, finally, we must edit and revise our final product of translation, because machine cannot what do you call that, edit based on human touch, cannot edit based on culture differences, cannot edit idioms, cannot edit what do you call that, figurative languages, yeah, like the proverb killing two birds with one stone. Machine translation or Google Translate cannot translate into satu kali merengkuh dayung juga 2-3 terlampau, because it is our custom, it is our culture. But when you try killing two birds with one stone using Google Translate will translate literally, depends on the machine capacity of the memory. So to have an accepted proverb in bahasa, even from bahasa into English, like translating bagaikan pinang dibelah dua, if we want to translate it using Google Translate, machine translation cannot translate it well based on the target culture, because machine what do you call it, does not contain, and what do you call that, it is not smart, yeah, to translate, for example, a proverb, because proverb contains a cultural specific item. Only human beings, yeah, know that how to translate based on the target readers and the target culture. You know that bagaikan pinang dibelah dua, it is not like dividing what do you call that, palm fruits, yeah, into two. No, it is just what machine creates or produce. We can translate that proverb into like 2 drops of water. Like 2 drops of water is a very equivalent and similar and natural and the closest meaning, and also the proverb in English. This is what machine could not do. Yeah, we will back to human being translator. Yeah. So the conclusion from me: don't use Google Translate or any other machine translation 100%, because what the product of machine translation is just what the first draft, not the final draft. We need to revise and edit again and again, yeah, to have a very qualified translation product. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pak Rudy, for a very elaborated answer with also the example. I believe it has already answered the question. Next, we go to the second questions. And this question is addressed to Pak Hendy. The question is, in your presentation, you mainly discusses the Orientalism from the Western point of view. So the question, how is Orientalism seen from Eastern point of view? Bapak Hendy, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I guess it's a very good question. Orientalism as a theory, yeah. I think if the Orient or the Eastern see the West, yeah, or the Orientalism itself as the one of the theory that yeah, I guess it shows the what happened, yeah, to them, to the Eastern, yeah, in the decades ago. And yeah, so I think still, yeah, the Orientalism has two different binary positions, yeah. First is the Occident and also the Orient. So yeah, so what I can answer here is that the Eastern, of course, will see the same, yeah, as the Western, yeah, about this Orientalism. So I think that's my answer for now.
Okay, thank you, Pak Hendy. Bapak Ibu, okay, please be patient. Thank you so much for bearing with us. And we still have other questions. The third question is directed to the third speaker, Ibu Imelda Lolowang. The question is there any connection between American tradition and history with today global development of human civilization? Ibu Imelda,
Okay.
the screen is yours.
Thank you for the question. I believe there is a connection. American culture can be used as a reflection of any other cultures like Indonesian culture, Asian cultures, and so on. Because even though these cultures are different from each other, but we can make use of the well resourced and well documented historical changes through histories, historical documents, and even literary works. So for our own benefits, and I think it's so interconnected with our own situation right now in these eras, that the eras are treated like very competitive land, or a piece of land, or frontier, or region, by nations, by superpowers, by people who have the interest the fields of interest from so many different countries. The media, the internet can be the battlefield of advertisements, of cultural expansion, and people are justifying themselves to use the media, the internet, the websites, the even social media for their own benefits. And it is like who is claiming, who can claim some piece of land, who can claim some websites or some media for their own benefits. Everybody can claim that this is our battlefield, this is our advertisement words, this is our cultural expansion for their own needs, for industrial revolution, for buying and selling their goods, their products, and as well as their ideas or their idealism that they want the rest of the world to have. Like if we see that in the past we have Japanese pop culture, and nowadays we have Korean pop culture, and every culture can take turns in claiming the media, the frontier in mind for their own benefits and good. And I think it's so related to our life nowadays. We can make use of the technology of the industrial revolution, of the websites, of the internet, social media for our own benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Imelda. So, Bapak Ibu, we still have one question, and the question comes from Imelda. Oh, sorry. The question comes from Melina, affiliated with STIMIC Jaya Nusa Padang. And her question is directed to the last speaker, Dr. Sanfo. So her question is there any effective evaluation instrument that suits best for online learning? I'm sorry, Dr. Sanfo, you are muted.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the question is related to whether there is an effective assessment instrument for online teaching.
Yeah, indeed.
Of course, there are instruments, and first of all, we need to understand that online teaching differs from traditional classroom teaching. So we need to understand that, because the difference is from many perspectives. So that also implies that when it comes to the assessment, of course, the assessments will be different because the teachings were different. And to answer directly to the question, even though I'm not very familiar with assessments in terms of online teaching, I believe that probably there are some that we can use, and they are effective. And based on my personal experience, I can say that, for example, multiple choice questions. So you ask a question and you ask the student to choose one. This is one option that you can use, and it can be effective depending on the context, of course. But another type of assessment is that we know that when we speak about online teaching, it implies that students have access to a lot of resources. They are not limited. So we can, for example, give time to the students and get them think about a given topic, and then try, or a given problem, let's say a given problem, and then try to come up with solutions to this problem by using, I don't know, the internet. They can use search engines to look for the answers. They can talk to their friends. They can have access to online libraries, for example. So these are methods that we can all use and assess our students to get to know if they are really learning what we are teaching. So we need to kind of have some flexibility in our assessment when we are coming to online teaching. That's very important, because even online teaching itself, it can be more or less more flexible compared to classroom teaching. So we need to take all these aspects into account and give flexibility to the students. And of course, there are a lot of varieties of assessment techniques that we can find. And I don't really have any specific one in mind, but definitely there are. And we can come up with one and then have effective assessments for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanfo, for the answer. Yeah, so Bapak Ibu, thank you so much for your engagement, participation. Thank you for being patient together with us. And that's the end of question and answer session. And I'll pass the mic over our Master of Ceremony, Ibu Vero.
Okay, well, thank you, the moderator, Ibu Daisy Batunan. Well, that's this presentation from the outstanding speakers. Thank you very much for the speaker for your great, interesting, inspiring presentation. May all of us get the value and benefit from the presentation today. And also thank for the moderators. Finally, we come to the end of the webinar. To close this event, let's reciting thanks to God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your nice attentions. Before closing the webinar, let's have a photo session, and I give change to the host to make the countdown and take the picture, all of us.
Well, okay. So we can have our time to get ready before we take a picture. And on first slide, we have Ibu Vero, Bapak Hendy, Bapak Rudy, and others. So I'll count. 3, 2, sorry. 3, 2, 1. Again. 3, 2, 1. The next slide. Oh, I got Buela, Bapak Ginting. And second slide. Give your best smile. 3, 2, 1. One more. Thank you. And the third slide. 3, 2, 1. Very well. 3, 2, 1. Eps. Thank you. I'll hand over it to Ibu Vero. Thank you, Ibu Vero. Ibu Vero, are you here with us? I think Ibu Vero was out from this link, so I just hand over to Ibu Daisy to close this webinar. Siapa sih? Ibu Daisy?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Bu Ainu.
Okay.
So yeah, let's go proceed to the next session. It is about the quiz. So thank you so much, Bapak Ibu, for your questions. We have plenty of questions in Slido. And it is time to select or pick up the best question coming from the participants. And then I give this chance for Bapak Daniel Ginting to lead this one. So Bapak Daniel, the board of IELA. You are muted, Bapak. We still couldn't hear you, Bapak.
The host, please, the host. Okay, thank you. So what can I do now?
Bapak, you need to select the best questions because the committee has already provided a gift voucher, 100,000 rupees for the best questions.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, I think most of the participants have a very good, questions, and it's hard for me actually, to be honest, to select which one. Well,
you can do it, Bapak.
Okay. All right. I think the last questions directed to Dr. Jean Baptiste. Could you help me? I could not remember. The questions directed to Dr. John Baptiste. Which question is it? Could you help me?
Related to effective assessment, online assessment. If there
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Online assessment method.
Right. Could you mention who asked that question? That's a very good question, I think.
So the question comes from Melina Stimik.
Yes, that's right.
Nusajaya Padang. Okay,
that's right.
Thank you, Pak Daniel, and congratulations, Meliana. Yes. So the committee is going to contact you for the gift.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Bapak.
Yes.
Okay, Bapak Ibu, this will be the last part. So we invite each of the speaker to give a closing statement. Let's start from Bapak Rudi Hartono.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, for audience or participants and all people here, please be a wise translators. Yeah, you can use machine translation, but you need to revise it well and you need to edit it well in order to get a qualified translation product. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Bapak.
you, Pak Daniel. Yeah. Thank you so much, Pak Daniel. I pray for you, yeah, to be a professor soon.
Thank you, Prof.
Amin.
Thank you, Prof. The next closing statement from Bapak Hendy.
Okay, thank you. So Orientalism is a theory that is not as common as other language criticism theories, yeah. But I guess it is an interesting theory to analyze, to be used as a theory to analyze a fiction. So no matter the negative or the positive sides of this theory, actually there are some critics for this theory, but I guess it is still an interesting theory for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Hedi. Next.
Thank you, Pak Hendy.
Ibu Imelda.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. So, in relation to the 5.0 era of industrial revolution, we need to keep in mind that the questions that we have to keep asking in order to revise our own position culturally in this world, like who we are and what is our position and what are our choices, what are our problems, so that we can be more realistic in addressing the problems, any cultural or contemporary problems that we have right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Imelda. Next, the last but not the least, Dr. Sanfo.
All right. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak at this webinar. And I was glad showing some evidence related to a teaching theory. And I hope that this theory can give more opportunities to teachers to improve the learning of their students. Of course, it's not the only theory that could improve the learning achievements of their students, but of course, they can look at other theories which can be effective or efficient for the given condition. So this one, as to my point of view, is really a good one, and it worked on the data that I have collected and analyzed. And I hope that teachers can also learn from it. And when they have other theories which are also effective, they can share with us as well. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanfo. So, Bapak Ibu, to end up our webinar, I do believe that this is the beauty of academic sharing, which there are always something new, insightful, meaningful, and relevant that we can learn from our great speaker. And yeah, see you on the next event. Take care and stay safe.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
John, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See
Thank
you then.
for the
Daniel, see you then.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Bye.
talking.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Pak Rudi, sehat-sehat selalu, Pak.
Iya, terima kasih, Pak Daniel. Terima kasih.